Good afternoon, y'all. My name is India Walton. I am a graduating senior here at the illustrious Dillard University. From the perspective as a young adult, many people considered senior citizens do not receive the respect or attention that they deserve. I often hear young people say, old people talk too much, or old people just can't relate. And because of this, nobody wants to have any interaction with them. I found a study that proved loneliness, which is described as the feeling of emptiness, can cause suffering to people at any age. However, it is especially debilitating to older adults. Today, I will discuss the symbolism and how loneliness led to the mental imbalance in the short story Miss Brill, written by Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield, pseudonym of Kathleen Mansfield Beauchamp, was born into a prominent family on October 14, 1888, in colonial parts of Wellington, New Zealand. In 1908, at the age of 19, Mansfield left New Zealand and migrated to Great Britain, where she established herself as a writer. In England, she experienced prominent modernist writers such as D.H. Lawrence and Virginia Woolf, who influenced her own personal modernist style of writing of short fiction. Mansfield's writing often focused on the psychological conflicts that reflected the influence of Anton Chekhov. Some of Mansfield's most well-known stories, which she often wrote in prose style, are The Garden Party, The Daughters of the Late Colonel, and The Fly. Her story, The Prelude, is inspired by the happiest memories of her childhood. Mansfield contracted extrapulmonary tuberculosis and died at the age of 34 in January 1923, after suffering a fatal pulmonary hemorrhage. Her untimely death unfortunately left many of her prose and poetry unpublished. However, Murray took on the task of editing and publishing the rest of her works. Miss Brill, a short story written by Catherine Mansfield, is about a lonely British elderly woman who is learning to adapt to a culture different than her own. The setting of the story is in the Jardins public gardens, in a French town on a beautiful fall day. The story introduces the protagonist, Miss Brill, engaging in her weekly Sunday routine, which she spends sitting in a park listening to an orchestra and people watching. The story begins with Miss Brill relishing over her ancient moth-powdered fur coat. This fur coat, which is one of the main symbols of this short story, is a parallel to the loneliness and sadness Miss Brill is experiencing in her own life. Miss Brill is starved for companionship, attention, and love, which Mansfield uses the fur coat to represent the only companion that Miss Brill has. Miss Brill goes to this park every Sunday to play her part in this play that she has conjured in her brain. Every Sunday, she sits in the same special seat and pays close attention to every detail of every person that she sees. Everyone plays an important role in the play. The older couple, whom Miss Brill becomes agitated with the wife for complaining about needing but not wanting spectacles, although her husband is patient and eager to solve her problem. The little children, boys with big white silk bows under their chins and little girls dressed in velvet and lace. The two soldiers meeting two young women, the woman wearing the ermine toque being rejected by a man, even the little brown theater dog trotting through. Every person played a role in this play. Mansfield often refers back to the orchestra playing, which is also an important symbol in the short story, used as an extension of Miss Brill's feelings, extreme happiness, but a deep underlying feeling of sadness. But even the band seemed to know what she was feeling and played more softly, played tenderly. Another important symbol is the honey cake, with that one piece of almond she was so excited for. On any typical Sunday, Miss Brill travels home and stops to purchase a slice of honey cake at the baker's. It was her Sunday treat. Sometimes there was an almond in her slice, sometimes not. It made a great difference. If there was an almond, it was like carrying home a tiny present, a surprise. The relevance of the almond being in the slice is that Miss Brill has nothing exciting in her life. The significance of this almond is the representation of the optimistic and hopeful view of life that Miss Brill maintains. It also represents the lack of excitement that she has in her life. For someone to look forward to something so small as an almond in their honey cake is an indication that they don't have much else to look forward to, which ties back to her loneliness. Miss Brill, an elderly woman with no friends or family, sits and talks to a piece of fur, reads to an invalid 4 days out of the week, and goes to a park to live vicariously through other people, which indicates that she is a little crazy, which leads back to her loneliness.